Question 13. Here is some information about the number of hours spent exercising each week by a group of people in 2016. One of the frequencies is missing. So let's have a look what it's talking about then. So 12 people spent between 0 and 2 hours exercising. Okay. 16 people spent between 3 and 5 hours exercising. A certain number of people spent between 6 and 8 hours exercising. 5 people spent between 9 and 11 hours exercising. I'm not a big fan of this question because time in hours is continuous data. So if it's continuous, you would expect, what happens to someone who exercises for 2.5 hours here? They're not accounted for. We just have to assume they don't exist. What happens to someone who exercises for 5 3/4 hours? They're not accounted for. Oh well. Let's just go with what they're talking about and see what how we go from there. Midpoints are used to work out an estimate for the mean number of hours spent exercising. The answer is 4.5 hours. Again, that's not well written. It means the estimate of the mean is 4.5 hours. The estimate of the mean is 4.5 hours. Work out the missing frequency. So here, this column, you may be used to using it as the midpoint times by the frequency. So that means that these 12 people, if on average they spent 1 hour exercising, because that's the midpoint between 0 and 2, on average we might make an estimate they spent about 12 hours collectively exercising. These 16 people, if on average they spent about 4 hours exercising, because that's my midpoint, I could make an estimate they did 16 times by 4, 16, 32, 64 hours of exercise between them. And my midpoint of this lot, these 5 people who exercise between 9 and 11 hours, is 10. So there's 5 people in that bracket, so they spent collectively an estimate of about 50 hours exercising. Now we're told that the mean number of hours is 4.5. So to work out the mean, I would want to do this and then divide by my total frequency. But I don't know my total frequency, and I don't know my total of this either. But I can see a way to do it. So this is what I would do. I'd say, right, I've got 12. And I can add 64. And I can add 50. And here's where I need to introduce algebra. What is this going to be? Well, if I say that my frequency here is x, I don't know what it is, but that frequency is x. So I'm going to add. Now, what's this going to be? This is going to be x times by 7, isn't it? So isn't that the same as 7x? Yes. So plus 7x. Okay. And if I then divide that by my total frequency. Now my frequency is 12 plus 16 plus 5. So that's 12, 28, 33 plus x. Okay. I get my mean, my estimate of the mean, which we know is 4.5. Okay. So I'm going to try to solve this now. The problem is I've got some x's on the bottom, an x here on the bottom, and on the top, and I don't, it's quite messy. Well, I'll just tidy this up a little bit first, so I can collect these as like terms. So 12 plus 64 plus 50 is, well, 12 plus 50 would be 62, plus 64, 126. So this would be 7x plus 126. Feel free to use a calculator in this exam, in this bit. so I need to check it, divided by 33 plus x. And that is equal to 4.5. So I've just tidied things up a little bit. So my next move is I'm going to multiply both sides by 33 plus x. Now the whole of that. Okay, so I'm going to times both sides by 33 plus x in order to get rid of it from the bottom. Okay, it's all of that it's being times by, so you just need to be very careful. So what I've got here is I've got 7x plus 126 equals 4.5 lots of 33 plus x. Now I need to expand this out, so I'm going to need additional space. So I'm going to go down over here and continue this working on. So I've got 7x plus 126 equals, right, 4.5 times 33. 4.5 times 33. 148.5 plus 4.5x. Okay, so I've got this set up in a way that I can see that I'll be able to work with. So let's subtract 4.5 lots of x from both sides. Gives me 2.5x plus 126 still equals 148.5. Now let's subtract 126 from both sides, so I get x on its own. So the x's on their own on one side. 126 off. So that gives me 2.5x equals, take away 100, so that should give me 22.5. Yeah. Alright. So I've got 22.5 and I've got 2.5x. So I need to divide by 2.5 to give me one lot of x. Divide by 2.5. So I've got x equals 22.5 divided by 2.5, which is 9. You see that? Sorry, it's difficult to see at the moment, that, isn't it? There you go, 9. So x equals 9. Work out the missing frequency. The answer is 9. That's quite a tricky, that's a very tricky problem-solving hidden algebra question. Which you'll need quite a bit of practice to sort of be able to sort of think about modelling the situation with algebra. And once you've modelled it, then it's just your skills of being able to work it through. The initial leap of seeing that you could represent this and then set up your equation is the key bit to unlocking that question.